It was an ordinary Tuesday morning, the kind where nothing unusual was supposed to happen. That changed with a knock at my front door. I wasn't expecting visitors, no deliveries, no appointments. Yet there he was, a man in a press suit, clutching a thick manila envelope like it carried the weight of the world. "Mr. Carter?" he asked. "Yes," I replied cautiously. "I'm here on behalf of your wife. You've been served." For a second, I just stared, confused, at the envelope in his hand. "My wife," I repeated, uncertain I'd heard him correctly. He nodded with a detached, professional tone. "Yes. Your wife, Emily Carter, is suing you for $10 million. All the details are in the summons." The world seemed to freeze around me. My chest tightened, and before I could even think, the words slipped out. "That's impossible. My wife died 5 years ago." The man's composure faltered. His grip on the folder tightened, his polished mask cracking. "I'm sorry, sir. There must be some mistake." "No mistake," I said firmly. "Emily was killed in a car accident 5 years ago this October." The color drained from his face. With trembling hands, he tore open the folder, frantically skimming through its contents. I was hired by her attorney. They assured me she was alive." I stepped aside and invited him in. If he was shaken, I was equally rattled. He sat stiffly on the couch, fumbling through the paperwork while I reached for a small wooden box on the shelf. Inside were the documents I never thought I'd need to show again: Emily's death certificate, hospital records, even the obituary from the local paper. He scanned them, pale and wide-eyed. This isn't possible. Someone filed this lawsuit in her name. They provided identification. Signed affidavits." That's when the cold truth sank in. Someone was impersonating my dead wife. But who, and why? 2 days later, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. When I answered, a woman's voice, smug and disturbingly familiar, greeted me. "Hello, darling. Surprised to hear me?" It wasn't Emily, but the voice carried her cadence, her mannerisms. My stomach sank. There was only one person capable of mimicking her so convincingly. Emily's sister, Vanessa. Vanessa had always lived in Emily's shadow. Competitive, envious, never satisfied with being second best. At our wedding, she gave a speech that was supposed to be affectionate, but it landed more like a warning. She'd joked that if anything happened to Emily, she'd be ready to take her place. At the time, I brushed it off. I never imagined she might mean it. "Vanessa, what the hell are you doing?" I demanded. She laughed lightly, her tone poisonous. "Oh, come on, Daniel. You don't actually believe Emily left you everything, do you? Half of that fortune should have been mine. I'm only taking back what I deserve." "You're doing it through fraud," I snapped. "Emily is dead." "Is she?" Vanessa purred, her voice dripping with mock innocence. "Because legally, things aren't so black and white. There's a loophole in the inheritance laws. All I needed were a few signatures and people too blind to notice the difference between sisters." My blood ran cold. She had forged documents, stolen Emily's identity, and fabricated a divorce claim to seize half my assets. Worse, she'd roped in corrupt officials willing to back her lies. But she hadn't counted on me fighting back. The next morning, I called an old friend, a private investigator I trusted. Within a week, he handed me a file thick with evidence. Surveillance footage showed Vanessa meeting with shady legal operatives. Wiretaps captured her bragging about suing her dead sister's husband. The evidence wasn't just strong, it was devastating. And it uncovered more than just Vanessa's deception. She had built an entire network of accomplices: a crooked lawyer who knowingly filed the lawsuit, a notary who forged Emily's signature, and even a court clerk who'd been bribed to fast-track the case. Vanessa thought grief would make me weak, that the legal system's bureaucracy would shield her schemes. She was wrong. Armed with the evidence, I filed a countersuit for fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. When law enforcement raided Vanessa's home, they uncovered a room packed with forged documents, fake IDs, and a wall covered with diagrams of her inheritance scam, like something straight out of a crime show. The trial drew public attention. Vanessa sat in court, her usual smug smile fading with every charge read aloud. Her betrayal, and her attempt to rewrite history for her own greed, made national headlines. What cut deepest, though, wasn't her plot against me. It was knowing that Emily, who had always believed in family and forgiveness, would have been shattered to see her own sister desecrate her memory like this. When the verdict came, Vanessa was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Her accomplices faced heavy fines and lost their careers. The lawsuit that started it all wasn't just thrown out, it became a case study in systemic corruption. Afterward, I visited Emily's grave for the first time in months. Life, work, and grief had all blurred together, but standing before her headstone, I finally felt something close to closure. "Guess what, Em?" I whispered softly. "Vanessa tried to bring you back. Pretended to be you. But she forgot, there's only one Emily Carter." The wind rustled through the trees, and for a fleeting moment, I could almost hear Emily's gentle laugh in the breeze. In the months that followed, life slowly regained its rhythm. But I was no longer the same. Betrayal changes how you see people, even family. I began volunteering with a legal aid group, helping others who had been deceived or defrauded. For me, it wasn't just about moving on. It was about proving that truth, no matter how deeply buried, always finds its way back to the surface. Vanessa thought she could erase Emily's legacy and steal a life that was never hers. But some things are beyond forgery. Some names, some bonds, some legacies, are untouchable.